Hello guys, I'm doing this in a different format today because I am too lazy to go up and record in my normal spot. So, today, we got ourselves a college football special. Yes, it's a bit late. It's the Thanksgiving season. It was Thanksgiving this past week. That's why my videos were a little bit late, to say the least. Some ugly results from last week. Michigan State beat Ohio State 17-14. Ohio State didn't run the ball very well. They didn't give it to Ezekiel Elliott enough. Elliott only had 12 carries for 33 yards and 1 touchdown, which is a disappointment for him, as well as Urban Meyer. He really didn't have a great offensive game plan. But at the same time, Michigan State played well on defense. Their offense, without Connor Cook last week, was kind of a question mark going in. However, they managed to overcome that and win the game, and putting them in the driver's seat, since they're going to beat Penn State today, I'm pretty sure, to make the Big Ten championship against Iowa. In our second game of ugly results, we have Florida Atlantic and Florida. Florida Atlantic had 14, Florida had 20. Johnson for Florida Atlantic was 17 of 33 for 148 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. This was ugly just by the simple fact that Florida even allowed FAU to be in this game. Florida has exceeding amounts of talent compared to a school like FAU. And the fact that they let somebody like Florida A&M stay in this game is kind of ridiculous. So, my 2 cents on this situation. Our next game is Ole Miss playing LSU. Ole Miss beat LSU 38-17. Kelly was 19-34 for 280 yards and 2 touchdowns. Good to see Ole Miss come back and win this game. If they win in the Egg Bowl and Alabama loses today, which isn't impossible, as crazy as the Iron Bowl can sometimes be, Ole Miss could end up representing that conference in the SEC title game, or that side of the conference anyway. Looking at our big wins from this past week, UCLA beats Utah 17-9. Utah's kind of fallen off after their huge win against Oregon early in the season. They've kind of slowed down a bit, so that's kind of a crazy thought in itself. UCLA, we'll see how they do. They're playing USC this week in their rivalry game, basically to represent the Pac-12 South, because it created a 3-way tie between Utah, USC, and UCLA. USC lost to Oregon last week, but UCLA and USC beat Utah, so the winner of that game will go and represent the Pac-12 South. Rosen was 15-30 for 220 yards and a touchdown. In our next game, UConn beats Houston 20-17. UConn had not been a good team this year. They're kind of just they were pretty much just searching around to possibly get themselves a decent opportunity at a bowl win, or just to get bowl eligible, excuse me. So that's an interesting thought process all in itself. Houston really needed to do something to give them a chance to boost their standings in the conference, and also hopefully make a last-ditch run at a New Year's Day Bowl. Anyway, Newsome 32 carries for UConn and 114 yards. Temple beats Memphis 31-12. Walker was 14-26 for 261 and 2 touchdowns. This was a big loss for Memphis. Memphis was one of those teams we were really looking at being one of the main contenders for a sneaky spot into the Final Four this year, and they didn't end up doing it, which is kind of a bummer because they had a huge win over UCLA. So let's get into what I happen to see as a big game. I ended up going to the Oregon USC game. I'll provide a couple of clips here so that way you guys can see it. Adams was 20 of 25 for 407 yards, 6 touchdowns, and an interception. Ended up beating USC 48-28. There's a few times Oregon kind of looked shaky in the red zone, which was kind of disconcerting. And USC really didn't play as well as I thought they would. I expected USC to just throw the ball all over Oregon because they had the receivers to do it. But instead, they stuck to a run game and really had a terrible 2-minute drill and wasted a ton of clock when they could have gotten themselves back in the game as well. So I'll throw in a couple of clips here.
Yes.
Now, looking at my top 10 for this week, number 1, I have Clemson. Number 2, I have Michigan State. Number 3, I have Alabama. At 4, I have Iowa. At 5, I have Notre Dame. At 6, I have Oklahoma. At 7, I have Baylor. At 8, I have Stanford. At 9, I have Ohio State. And at 10, I have Navy. I will say, since this is going up a bit late, this is not counting any of the games that happened either Friday after Thanksgiving or today, Saturday. Just a heads up on that end. That top 10 will be next week, covering what happened this weekend for Rivalry Weekend. Anyway, some games to watch. Since this is going up late, I do apologize about that once again. Couple specific games. At 5 o'clock, Oklahoma plays Oklahoma State. You guys will want to watch that. Bedlam. Will Oklahoma State take advantage and win? Will Oklahoma win and pump themselves up to being in the Final Four? That's a very good question. Also, at 4:30 p.m. on Fox, Notre Dame plays Stanford. That's going to be a really good game. It'll be good to see, if I can talk, if Notre Dame is as good as everybody thinks they are, even with one loss, and if Stanford can represent the Pac-12 well and get a big win here, possibly opening a door for a team like Oregon to make it to a Pac-12, to make it to a New Year's Day bowl game, like the Fiesta Bowl or such. So we'll have to look at that. So anyway, this has been the college football special. Once again, I apologize for it being late. You can follow me on Twitter at TheAnalyst32. You can like this video. You can subscribe to my channel, The Analyst 32, as well. And we will see you next week. Watch some good college football.